Health and Wellness Center, and this is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. We're live again tonight. Miss you guys. We miss you on Friday. Had to miss you guys out there on social media on Thursday. We just kind of had a crazy week last week with all the stuff going on, and I think we're back and live and rocking tonight. Seems like we are, and so we're glad. We've got a good show for you tonight. I think you'll enjoy this one, but. Just wanted to say last week was kind of weird. I went Tuesday night and spoke to the WISE group. I told you guys that, and that's been pretty impactful so far. I'm helping some people out, got them some good knowledge to go off of. Got some good feedback with that. Generated some more opportunity out there. Got a text from a girl over at Southcrest today and an opportunity to go speak to those people over at Southcrest Baptist Church. So I'm really hoping that we can manifest that and make that happen. I'm going to speak on Friday to a group. The New Neighbors Club is going to speak to them on Friday. Anybody that's new to Lubbock gets invited to the New Neighbors Club. And so we've been there twice before. They want me to go back and talk on brain. So I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun getting to go see those guys again, talk about brain, see if we can make their days better. And so if you got somebody out there, if you're part of a group, I don't care what kind of group. If you just got a group of friends and you want me to come talk to them about health, if you've got a business or you've got a group, if you're in some sort of a service group or something like that, and you need a speaker, you need someone to come talk to you about health, I love to do that. I love to come out and share the information that we know, the information that we have that you might not have heard before. You know, you guys that are regular listeners to the show, you get a bunch of it. You get pretty much all I got. But some of those people never have heard this stuff. And sometimes it takes multiple years. Part of my motivation of doing this show is that it took me 12 years before I understood what subluxation meant. And from my very first adjustment to the time I got that word kind of really registered in my brain, took me 12 years. And, I had the cutest little moment today is I take care of a little lady and, she's in her 70s and she's really a sweetheart of a woman. And she came in today and she said, I was telling my friend, because her best friend for like 50 years is in town visiting. And she said, I was telling my friend today that, because you told me last week that I had been here for over a year. And she said, I just started thinking about that. And I just thought to myself, I wonder what I would be like if I hadn't have started here a year ago. And I said, you know what? I think those same things myself all the time. I think to myself, what if I wouldn't have found chiropractic wellness 23, 24 years ago now? What if I would have just stayed on the path I was on, continued to coach football and not known anything about this whole wellness thing? Like I'm telling you, my life would be completely different. It would. That's what I told the little lady. I said, yeah, I'd probably be one of those people that like drank Cokes and took Tylenol. And she just kind of laughed and she was like, yep, that we'd be in that group if we wouldn't have learned that. So that's part of what we do is we try to share all this information with you so that maybe you're not one of those people that drinks Coke and takes Tylenol. Because it's stuff, both those things are really damaging for your health. It'll kill you. So that was good, and I think I count my blessings every single day. Really, to tell you the honest truth, I count my blessings that I learned about this somewhere along the way. So if you got a group out there, you want me to come speak to them, just let me know. Send me a text, 806-794-0400. Leave me a message. Go to our webpage, the Rock Health and Wellness Centers.com, the Rock Health and Wellness Centers.com, and you can reach out to me that way. 806-794-0400 is again our text line. You can text me something like that. If you want me to come talk to your group, if you get 5 or 6 people together and you just want me to come over and we can just set up a place and just talk to them, I'll do that too. I'll share this information with as many people as possible to help us all live better lives. I just think it just what they say, the rising tide raises all boats or something like that. I don't know. I live in Lubbock. You know, you got to give me a little bit of slack on that one. Like, there's no boats around here. There's no tide. It's all dirt outside of this beautiful town. But I had two people today talk about how they loved Lubbock. Like, they just, this is home. One lady, she thought she'd only be here for a short period of time. And she went to Colorado this weekend, and she came back and she was like, I'm home. And I was like, yeah, it's a good place to be. Lubbock's a good place to be. And other than a few days where the wind gets out of control and the dirt gets out of control, the rest of the time, it's really beautiful. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my family that came to Lubbock this weekend. We had my dad's memorial on Friday night, and celebration of life is what we called it. And I tell you what, that we need to get our group together, all of you guys out there listening to this show, and we need to get some definitions worked out. If you have a funeral for a loved one, and if you lost a loved one, I'm sorry, I know it hurts. But if you have a funeral for a loved one, then and you need some time to grieve and all that sort of thing for that loved one, then that's totally fine. But if you have a celebration of life, we had a celebration of life this weekend. And I mean, we celebrated my dad. We had all my family. It was 48 people came to the house on Friday night. We catered in fajitas. That I even bought pies and stuff for those people. And it was just a fantastic time. It was really, really good. It's good to spend some time with my brother and sister. It was good to see my cousins and my aunts and my uncle. And my uncles actually from both sides of my family. I got some uncles on my mom's side that came. Some cousins I hadn't seen in a long time. We celebrated. We celebrated on Friday night. We had a good time. And then on Saturday morning, thank you to my daughter. With her job at Tech, we have some benefits, and we can get to do some touring. And we had some people from out of town that might have an opportunity to come be Red Raiders. And so she took us to campus and she showed us around. And thanks to Coach McGuire, we ran into Coach McGuire, our head football coach, and he was just happened to be doing some. I'm sure he was working with some recruits or something there. And I don't know that for sure. He was doing something. That's just what Caitlin said that he might have been doing. And she saw him, and she went over and talked to him, and then he walked across the street and said hi to all of us, met my family. We kind of told him what we were doing, and he was super friendly, and then took a selfie with us. So it was a great time. The little kids got to go down on the baseball field and run the bases. They got to go down on the football field. We went over to the Womble Center, and they got to see all the practice facilities for our basketball teams. Went over to the United Spirit Arena and got to see that. So it was really a good time. Good time. Great ambassador. My daughter is a great ambassador for Texas Tech. She's a great ambassador for Lubbock, Texas. And we made a big impression on my East Texas and Eastern New Mexico family members. They really enjoyed it. Got my aunt from East Texas who didn't even like getting out of the house for more than one night. She just couldn't believe. She just kept talking about how far it was driving out here, and everything. And my cousins were like, they said it's not the prettiest drive. And I said, well, it all depends on your frame of view right there, your frame of reference. I said, I think it's beautiful out here in West Texas. Like, you can see for miles and miles, and you don't have all those trees blocking your view and all that stuff. So anyway, we celebrated my dad. We celebrated his life. We got together, and he would have been proud. He would have been so happy that we were there together. And it was good. So that was what Friday night was about. All that stuff is over. And now we got some time right now. I think maybe one day between now and I got to go to one of my cousins is getting married on the 29th. So the Friday the 28th, we won't have a show. But I think until then, till July 4th, we've got some stuff to talk about, and we can get rocking. So tonight, one of the things I wanted to do, and I thought it's a little bit strange, but my goal is to try to get some people on this show, try to have some visitors come on the show with us and talk about it. But I hadn't figured out how to get that done yet. and make that happen. So um, I thought that I would share with you a little bit of information about a guy that I talk about all the time, and that you can go talk about, but maybe you might not know exactly who he is, or you know what he's all about. And he just has dedicated his life to trying to help the world be more well. And I know it's a little bit strange to have a show that talks about another guy's show, but I just wanted to talk about Dr. Mark Hyman tonight. I wanted to share a lot of the stuff that Dr. Hyman teaches, and just the things that he does, um, to share. Man, he's a busy dude, and he's got a lot of things going on. And if you guys haven't heard about Dr. Hyman, if you don't know who that is, Dr. Mark Hyman, Hyman, and you can go to drhyman.com right off the bat, and he's talking about food isn't like medicine, it is medicine. And it's our number one tool for creating the vibrant health and we deserve. And I wanted to go through some of this tonight. I've had three books of his for a long time. I think two of them are checked out right now. But this is the 10-day detox diet right here, with blood sugar, the blood sugar solution. And I've had it for quite some time. We've used it for a lot. But there's some things I wanted to go through, and I'll get to it in just a second. But there's a couple of places that you can go that you can learn about Dr. Hyman. Who is Dr. Mark Hyman? There's a whole video on him right there. It gets into the different kind of books he's written. He's got Food Fix. He's got the Vegan Diet. He's got his detox stuff. And there's just a lot. I don't know if this says anything about him in the back of this book. Yeah. He's a medical doctor, co-medical director for Canyon Ranch for the almost 10 years, and is now the chairman of the Institute of Functional Medicine and founder and medical director of the Ultra Wellness Center. He's a number one New York Times bestseller author. He's got a bunch of stuff. He's on Instagram. I talk about him all the time, just on his Instagram stuff. And we reference it a lot here in the office. He's just someone that I follow, and I can always count on him to. I mean, he's got a great team together. Like here's a post right here: 8 ways fatherhood changes men, impacts the body in ways you can't see. Fathers gain weight faster throughout their life and weigh more than men without children. Yeah, I can attest to that. Fathers with young children sleep around 80 hours less annually. Testosterone levels are lower on average in fathers than men without children. 40% of new fathers experience heightened stress. Estradiol decreases in men during their partner's pregnancy and increases after the baby's birth. Fathers experience a 5-hour decrease in weekly physical activity. Prolactin levels rise in fathers after the birth of their child. Becoming a father adds an average of 2 years of life expectancy. That's a good one to have. Function for every stage of fatherhood. So that's just one of the posts that he's got. He's got mood boosting foods right here. Some of his top ones: zinc, magnesium, vitamin B, omega-3 fatty acids, probiotics. So what are things that have zinc? Oysters, kale, broccoli, legumes, and nuts. Magnesium: fish, avocados, dark leafy green, and vitamin B: asparagus, leafy greens, meat, and avocado. Omega-3 fatty acids: wild-caught salmon. Probiotic-rich foods: kefir, yogurt, and other fermented foods. And then he'll go into the bottom and he'll talk about, all those things. So those are just some of the things, just some of the stuff. He works tirelessly. He just really does do a fantastic job. I never met him personally. I've just been learning from him for quite some time, and I really do appreciate his work, and he's taught me a lot of stuff. And it's nice to, during COVID. Hey, that reminds me. If you guys want to, you talk about something that'll you guys that know the truth, it will support everything that you've known. And you guys that don't really know the truth yet, all this truth is coming out. But I listened to Chris Cuomo interview Robert Redfield this weekend. Um, let me see if I've got it right here. What the title was or whatever. Yeah, it was ex-CDC chief. Ex-CDC chief Dr. Robert Redfield reveals COVID-19 truth. Now, this is on the Chris Cuomo something or another project, the Chris Cuomo project. I think, me personally, I don't have much use for Chris Cuomo. I think what he did during COVID was a bunch of crap, and now he's just trying to flip it around, and he's going to try to make his show popular by flipping around on the other side. But so I'm not trying to push you to his page, even though he's bringing us some good stuff on this one. So he's bringing us the CDC chief, Dr. Robert Redfield, and he talks about all kinds of stuff about COVID. He talks about how that there was never proven, and it's not true, and it's never been true ever in the history of time, that getting a vaccine stops the transmission of COVID. It doesn't prove that you're not going to get it. You're not going to get, if you get vaccinated, you're not going to keep from your grandma getting it. All you unvaccinated are holding us vaccinated hostage. Remember what the doctor over here at the medical center said on the mayor's show, right? All that nonsense, lying out their teeth when they didn't know anything about what they were talking about. And trying to tell people that do wellness how to do wellness. Like when you look back at it, and there's some I told you so moments right there, right? And hey, look, I've played in the arena. I know what it's like to be down there on the field and throw 5 interceptions. There's nobody else you could blame but yourself. A lot of times, I mean, it'd be really nice if you blamed somebody else, but the actual truth is, I'm the one that threw those passes. And so you're out there in the middle, and there's a stadium full of people out there that have an opinion on your performance. So I get that right there. I get that. I'm a big fan of the. It's not the critic who counts, or the one who points out, or the strong man stumbled, or the doer of deeds could have done them better. That quote right there, that whole Roosevelt quote about the man in the arena. I'm a big fan of that idea. I'm in the arena right now. I'm right here for the whole entire world to judge and see. And you guys can say, man, that dude is awesome, or that good guy is stupid. Either way, I get it. I'm not trying to be critical, but I think I'm glad some of this stuff is coming out, and the things that were on that podcast, and the things that Dr. Redfield said. And that he's like, nobody under 65 should have been mandated to get a vaccine. The virus did very little to the people that were under that age. The way that you keep your inflammation down, and some of the things that you can do to keep yourself healthy, all of those things that went on, and we just got shut out. And I lost patience over it, and I got criticized by people that said, oh, you're being dangerous, and you're not taking, you don't, I have family members that were talking about how dangerous I was, I was putting the lives of my mother-in-law, or putting my parents, or whatever, that we're talking about. And I'm not getting fired up about this. I am actually talking about Dr. Hyman, but I had people tell me that you're being reckless with your health and with everyone else's health because you're not getting vaccinated, and blah 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 blah, right? And so now what we know is that, because you know what I did? I went home on the first week and I broke down what a coronavirus was. I broke it down, I spent about 36 hours breaking it down. And when I figured it out, I'm like, this is not that big a deal. You got to keep your inflammation down. Get your inflammation down, you can go on about your business. And so, and on top of that, I went to the Pfizer website and I read the Pfizer study. Now, I'm going to ask all those people out there, all you guys personally, did you go to the Pfizer website and read the Pfizer study? No. I'd be willing to bet you that a bunch of you didn't. And what you did, and I got in a fight with the mayor, and the mayor told me, Jason, you could listen to a conversation. We're going to have a bunch of medical doctors on, a bunch of real doctors on the a call in, and where they're going to tell you everything you're going to need to know about this virus. And I listened to that thing, and it did not take 3 sentences until the very first doctor on the list lied through his teeth. And he lied through his teeth without reading it. It's like you just read the literature, the research paper off of the Pfizer website. Just read the paper. They saw the people on the first day. They saw the people on the 28th day to give them their second shot. And then they didn't see them again for like 56 days. Then they didn't see them again for like 180 days. How in the world can you possibly tell me that those 21,000 people that got a vaccine, how can you tell me whether or not they got COVID or they didn't get COVID if you didn't see them every single week and test them for COVID? There's no way. And if you'd have read the article, if you'd have read the research right off the page, you would have known they were lying too. So let me get back on track. Because I could get off on a tangent right there and I could go down that rabbit hole. That's a bunch of crap is what that was all about. Yes, that was a bunch of crap. And we know it's a bunch of crap. And Dr. Redfield was the Trump appointed director of the CDC. He was right there. He's the one that made the recommendation that we stop all airline flights from China. He says it right there in that interview. He's the one that says, hey, look, I was in there with President Trump. I said, hey, we should stop all the airline flights from China right now because we got to get this thing under control. President Trump asked me a few questions, and then President Trump said, all right, if the CDC director says we're stopping the flights from China, we're stopping the flights from China. That's how quickly he did it. Because leadership is sometimes people have to do it. Now, he didn't have to get out there and act all stupid and stand up there every day and some of the things that I'm not a big fan of how President Trump handled it either, because he lost his nerve when he was dealing with Dr. Fauci and all the rest of those people. But he did. That is the guy on the video. That's the guy that's right there in the middle, that's been doing this kind of work for a long time. And one of the things that he says in his interview, and one of the things that my argument was okay, fine, don't let the crazy chiropractors say anything. That'd be fine. Why don't you let the medical doctors say something? How come people like Dr. Hyman weren't allowed to speak during that time frame? And they weren't. They got censored. They got quieted. They weren't allowed to speak. And he was one of these guys that was trying to help people manage their lives and control their lives and to keep themselves healthy. And we got quieted. All of us got quieted. And we got quieted because of the agenda from the people at the top, from pride and arrogance, from the people at the top. Hey, listen, every man that I've ever met in my entire life, and I've been around some alpha males, and I've been through college athletics, and I've coached college athletics, and I've hung out on ranches, and I've hung out on the racetracks, and I've been around. I consider myself kind of a man's man. Like I can hang out with men. Like I'm not scared of hanging out with men. I've been where I understand the dynamics of hanging around with men. I've been around a lot of men, and I've been around a lot of good men. But I can tell you what I know for a fact: every man that I've ever known in my entire life will go to his boundaries. He will live his life to his boundaries, and he will answer to his authority. And if he doesn't have an authority, he will answer to no one. And I've known some men like that. And that's what happened with Dr. Fauci, in my opinion. I don't never met Dr. Fauci. I don't know much about Dr. Fauci other than I know that he didn't have any authority. He was his own authority. He didn't have anybody that checked him and kept him in place. You guys don't even know this, because I didn't know this, that somewhere along the way, the bioweapons thing got transferred underneath him, and he got like $40 billion to control the bioweapon department in the NIAID or whatever they call that thing, came under his watch. So part of the reason that we went through all that stuff and part of the reason that no one else could speak is because we had some guys. President Trump's a lot like that. He doesn't really like to be, he'll go as far as his boundaries. Like he doesn't have anybody that checks him. And I'm I'm a Republican at heart. I'm not Republican. I'm a conservative at heart. But I'm not political at all. I don't care about the political game. That's not the game that I play. That's Robert Pratt. You guys want to listen to Robert Pratt on Texas before this show. But the other thing was the pharmaceutical company pushed the heck out of that deal because they were making billions of dollars. And they didn't want anybody talking about anything that gave them like stop their train. And so we lost people like Dr. Hyman, and we lost the ability to share health and wellness news. And now it's coming back around, and it's like, oh yeah, now that you see, now where do you go to look? You go to look for health and wellness guys that did exactly the same thing every single day. Guess how much fish oil I took? The same as I'm taking now. Guess how much magnesium I took? The same as I'm taking now. About my vitamin D, same as I'm taking now. All those things, they're the same because wellness people do wellness things. And hey, when we get back, we'll talk about some of those wellness things. Fixing our fat thinking, the myth, all calories are created equal. Some of the things, I'll read them right straight from Dr. Hyman's book. You guys stick around with us. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, and we'll be right back. Yeah, if you got any comments about that, you got any questions or text, you want to send me a text, 806-794-0400. I'm not going to talk about that for the rest of the show, but it's a good interview with Dr. Redfield and Chris Cuomo. And I remember Chris Cuomo hiding out in his basement and talking about how sick he was and blah, 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 and all those things, and talking about all those people negatively took ivermectin and all that stuff. And now he's just flipping it around, and now he's like act like he's a savior of the thing, like whatever. I know we got to put up with a lot of that, and I'm really not a confrontational kind of person, but that it is we all were, the whole planet was affected. The planet is still being unwinding from all that. There's so much craziness going on. Young kids can't even buy starter homes anymore because starter homes are so daggum expensive, and the cost of all that stuff. Your car insurance. I was listening to somebody talk about car insurance. My car insurance has gone skyrocketed out the roof. There's a I guess if you're in the car insurance business, it's great, but for the rest of us, there's a lot of craziness that went on. I think I don't even know all the stuff that you guys know about it, but I do know that people like Mark Hyman didn't change. They were doing wellness stuff, and they just did wellness stuff. And even though they got silenced and they got, you know, throttled or whatever on their social media, they still just did wellness stuff. And Dr. McCullough has become a hero because he came out and talked about some of the wellness stuff. So there's a lot going on right there. Let me get us back on the radio. Okay, everybody, we're back. So let's get back on track. I didn't mean to get off on that. It's fun to get off on it sometimes, especially when you're on the right side of history. But let's just talk about. Let's read a little bit out of his book, because I think it's cool. It's the same stuff that we always talk about, and I think some of you would like it. This is chapter 2, Finding Food Freedom. This is the 10-day detox diet, Dr. Mark Hyman, the blood sugar revolution. Activate your body's natural ability to burn fat and lose weight. And one of the things that he talks about, and well, let me read the intro to this. This is Kelly Aronson, and I don't know who this is, but they wrote this little intro. I never thought I could do it. Go a week without coffee, without chocolate, without wine, without cheese, etc. But I knew I had to make a drastic change and needed a jump start. I was very overweight, high cholesterol, pre-diabetic, and miserable. This has been an amazing gift. I'm not saying that I don't still have the thoughts about the above, but they don't consume me, and I feel like I finally have control. Prior to this detox, I spent every free thought beating myself up for my food choices and how I looked and felt. Now I am celebrating my accomplishments, down 12 pounds in a normal fasting glucose range, and I feel empowered. The biggest gift, though, is that I am finally out of the food fog that I have spent years in. I feel clear, awake, and alert. When I spend time with my children, I feel present and engaged, which is a blessing for all of us. This journey is just beginning, and I have a long way to go and a lot to learn, but I have never been so excited and so overwhelmingly grateful. You know, if you would have taken almost that same exact paragraph and put my name at the bottom of it, I can tell you, I feel almost exactly the same way. If you guys have never tried it, if if you've never tried it, I'm telling you, it's like the water is nice and warm. Like, come on in. Like it is. I wouldn't have believed it before I did it. And this weekend we had all kinds of crap in the house. We catered fajitas. We bought cobbler, pecan pie, chocolate pie. They threw somehow we got a buttermilk pie. I don't think we ordered that one. And my dad's favorite was banana pudding. We had the whole thing with the little wafer cookies and all that stuff, right? I got all my cousins in town. Hey, everybody's there. Kids are there. Eat what you want, right? So we had all that, and then the catering company, um, um, Cafe Venture, they do the tailgate. It's part of the Fuddruckers deal here, but Cafe Venture, if you ever want a catering deal, man, it was delicious. It was delicious. We got fajitas, and they brought the tortillas, they brought the meat, the chicken, the beef, the beans and rice, the whole thing, guacamole, sour cream. All the pico de gallo. They brought it all, but they also brought some chocolate chip cookies. And I'm telling you, they were the best looking cookies I think I've ever seen. Oh, they were so delicious looking. They were so perfect. They had all kinds of big old chocolate chunks in them. They were like cooked just right where they kind of browned around it's like they were just like a little bit softer around the edge, like in the middle, but maybe a little bit crispy on the edge. They looked so delicious. They really did. And I was like, I had to have 3 deep conversations with myself because I was looking at those cookies, trying to make an excuse, trying to come up with some reason that I should eat a cookie. I was like, come on, dude, it's your dad's memorial. It's your dad's celebration of life. You're really tired. You're tired. It's just one cookie. That's all it takes. Just one. Man, doesn't it look good? And then Leslie and Caitlin left, and I was there by myself. And I thought I could just eat one cookie, and I wouldn't have to tell anybody, and no one would have to know. And then I stopped. Every time I just stopped. I just stopped. I looked at those cookies, and I just stopped, and I just thought to myself, you know what? You haven't been sick in 2 years and 3 months. Not even hardly a sniffle in 2 years and 3 months. You've gone through all these. Everybody was getting sick these last 2 years in my office. I had all kinds of sick people right there, and I was like, dude, why would you do that? You don't want to do that. You don't want to. You know dang well what you're going to do is you're going to put that poison inside your body. You're going to change your microbiome. You're going to mess up your whole immune system, and then you'll end up paying the price for it. And I was just like, nope, I'm not doing it. And I'm telling you, that's a big deal. That's a big deal if a guy like me can do it. Because if a guy like me can do it, a guy like you can do it. Or if a guy like me can do it, a gal like you can do it. You do not have to be bound by the chains of sugar. You do not have to. So that it is true. What is said right there in that little article, that little writing, that's a true statement. So let's get to the myth. Here's some of the myth. Myth number 1: all calories are created equal. And this is straight from Dr. Hyman's book. Take a class of 6th graders. Show them a picture of 1,000 calories of broccoli and 1,000 calories of soda. Ask them if they have the same effect on our bodies. Their unanimous response will be no! We all intuitively know that equal calorie amounts of soda and broccoli can't be the same nutritionally. But as Mark Twain said, the problem with common sense is that it's not all that common. It's not too common. I guess that is why the medical profession, nutritionists, and government, the food industry, and the media are all still actively promoting the outdated, scientifically proven idea that calories are created equal. Yes, that well-worn notion, and that as long as you burn more calories than you consume, you will lose weight, is simply dead wrong. That's not me saying it. That's not Robert Lustig saying it. That's Mark Hyman saying it. There's another guy that's a high-powered medical doctor that's saying that it's not the same. Newton's first law of thermodynamics states that the energy of an isolated system is constant. In other words, in a laboratory or isolated system, 1,000 calories of broccoli and 1,000 calories of soda are, in fact, the same. I'm not saying Newton's law was wrong about that. It's true, when we burned in a laboratory setting 1,000 calories of broccoli and 1,000 calories of soda would indeed release the same amount of energy. But sorry, Mr. Newton, your law of thermodynamics doesn't apply in living, breathing, digesting systems. When you eat food, the isolated system part of the equation goes out the window. The food interacts with your biology, a complex adaptive system that instantly transforms every bite, right? We know because we've studied it and we understand it's that what does it do to insulin and what does it do to brain, right? We know that there's neuropod cells because we listened to Diego Borges at the university at Duke Medical School. We listened to him and we know that there's neuropod cells in our gut. We know that there's cells in our gut that detect the foods that we eat, that feed through the vagus nerve back to the brain. We know that changes. So we know that the way that we respond to foods, the way that we respond to proteins, the way that we respond to fiber, the way that we respond to fatty acids is going on inside of our body. So you take broccoli, and broccoli's just that masterful thing that everybody goes to. That's what one of the guys during COVID said right here. One of my own city councilmen said this. He said, we're talking about wearing a mask. He's like, it's just wear your mask. It's not like we're asking you to eat broccoli. That's exactly what he said. Now, whether he's sorry for saying it or not, I don't know. He's never told me he's sorry for saying it. And maybe he was just trying to make a point. But the point is, why wasn't the leadership saying eat broccoli? Who was it that stood up and said, yes, that you'd be way better off if you ate proper nutrition instead of eating refined carbohydrates? We didn't get that from the leadership. What we got from the leadership was 5 Brahms opened in my town. You should have seen it. You should have seen the line. And my people that are watching the show know it's true because they were in the line. There was a line right down at the end of my street. If you come right down the end of my street, you'll run into Milwaukee Avenue. When you run into Milwaukee Avenue, if you just go straight across the street, you'll run into Brahms. If you go down the street, probably at least a quarter mile, maybe even half a mile down the street, there's a Nissan dealership down the street. There were cars lined up from almost the Nissan dealership all the way down to the Brahms. They had to have a police officer in the lane to direct the traffic off of Milwaukee because of the people that were going to Brahms, right? Because we were feeding ourselves refined carbohydrates and instead of feeding ourselves broccoli and working out. And if we would have been so much better. So we know, every one of us knows that 1,000 calories of broccoli is not the same as 1,000 calories of ice cream or sugar or anything else, soda pop, that we could put in our body because it changes by the way that our body responds to it. We're going to get changes in the gut lining. We're going to get changes in insulin. We're going to get either a quick spike in insulin. You should go to Justin Richards' deal on insulin resistant 1 right here. Insulin resistant 1. Justin Richard did one yesterday on donuts. in his blood sugar. It was a 58 gram spike in insulin, and it lasted for like 3.2 hours. And I was just thinking to myself, dude, how many donuts have I eaten in my lifetime? You know how many times I've done that to myself? Oh, 1,000 times. Easy. 1,000 times I did that to myself because I was addicted to that sugar. What did it do? It raised my insulin. What did it do? It kept my blood sugar high. What went on inside my body? It freaked out. My body literally freaked out. The alarms bells that were going off, the physiology that was going on inside my body, the crazy response that my body was having to go through by eating 2 donuts. Like, and I did that. I can't tell you how, like, so many times I did that. And I was working myself to cancer. I was working myself to heart disease. I was working myself to a heart attack. When you're 283 pounds and you're 49 years old, dude, seriously, like you're the one that dies in like my friend Ornell Jr. died in the fire department in Midway, New Mexico. Put one sleeve into one side of the coat. Before he could get the sleeve through the other side of the coat, bam, dead on the floor. Dead on the floor right there. Yeah, and what was I doing? I was setting myself up to be the same exact guy. I was going through the same exact thing because I was addicted to it. But yeah, sorry. Let's get back. To illustrate, no, wait, let me go back. Sorry, Mr. Newton, your law of thermodynamics doesn't apply in living, breathing, digestive systems. When you eat food, the isolated system part of the equation goes out the window. The food interacts with your biology, a complex adaptive system that instantly transforms every bite. To illustrate how this works, let's follow 700 calories of soda and 700 calories of broccoli once they enter your body. 700 calories in the amount of a double gulp from 7-Eleven, which is 100% sugar and contains 186 grams or 46 teaspoons of sugar. The double gulp from 7-Eleven is 46 teaspoons of sugar. Many people actually do consume this amount of soda. They are considered the heavy users. Your gut quickly absorbs the fiber-free sugar in the soda, fructose, and glucose. The glucose spikes your blood sugar, starting a domino effect of high insulin and a cascade of hormonal responses that kicks bad biochemistry into gear. That's what I was talking about with the donuts, right? High insulin increases storage of belly fat, increases inflammation, raises triglycerides, and lowers HDL, raises blood pressure, lowers testosterone in men, and contributes to infertility in women. That's high insulin. Let me read that again just so that we all get it, right? High insulin increases storage of belly fat, increases inflammation. Inflammation is joint pain. Inflammation is arthritis. How many times do we have this conversation, right? Inflammation is arthritis. Arthritis, but man, I got a lot of arthritis in my shoulder. You got a lot of inflammation in your shoulder. Do you have a lot of high insulin? Do you have a lot of sugar? Did you eat some donuts this morning? Look, it's not bacon and eggs and toast and jelly. It's not that. It's just bacon and eggs. Stop the toast. It's not bacon and eggs and toast. It's not the hamburger bun on the hamburger. Throw the bun away. You can manage that stuff. You can control your insulin. High inflammation raises triglycerides. What happens if you raise triglycerides? You're going to get on a statin. What's going to go with the statin? All kinds of crazy stuff. Lowering your CoQ10, lowering your hormones, lowering your testosterone. Raises blood pressure, lowers testosterone in men. High insulin lowers testosterone in men. High insulin raises triglycerides. Triglycerides gets you a statin, which now lowers testosterone. So what are you going to do? You're going to go to the next doctor who doesn't give a flying flip about your health and is going to give you a testosterone pellet in your butt, right? They're going to tell you that now you need a testosterone pellet. But drink as much soda as you want, right? Just drink yourself your Cokes, and then man, okay, I'm not going to get fired up. I'm just reading a book. It's just me and you on a Monday night reading a book, right? Your appetite is increased because of insulin's effect on your brain chemistry. The insulin blocks the main appetite controlling hormone, leptin. You guys are all a bunch of clones. I can tell. We just talked about leptin 2 weeks ago, right? You become more leptin resistant, so the brain never gets the I'm full signal. Instead, it thinks you're starving. Your pleasure based reward center is triggered, driving you to consume more sugar and fueling your addiction. Remember the dopamine firing? Why is it dopamine firing? Why is dopamine firing with sugar? Because the neuropod cells in the gut are firing through the vagus nerve into the brain to fire the dopamine. You don't like it because it's on your tongue, because if I cut out your sweet receptors, you would still drink it. The fructose makes things worse. It goes right to your liver. 100%. Fructose goes to your liver. Glucose goes to every single cell in your body, and it raises your insulin. Fructose is a toxin in the body. Fructose. Look on your soda. Your soda is going to say high fructose corn syrup. When they say made with real sugar, listen to this. Here's how it works. Fructose, high fructose corn syrup is 55%, at least 55% fructose. So if you have 100 calories, you have of the if the percentage of high fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose, the percentage of sugar is 50% fructose. Sugar is 50% fructose and 50% glucose, and fructose is going to go straight to your liver. So the idea that your soda maker, the idea, and look, where did soda come from? Cocaine. Where? Why? Because it sucked being alive, because it was painful being alive. And the dude that made that whole thing was like, dude, I hate life. I live in a dungeon. I live in the dark. I hate life. I think I'll make something to drink that'll make me feel better. What's an alternative to that? Get out in the sun. Move your feet. Get your eyes up. You'll feel better. One of my ladies, my new patient today, told me, she's like, I exercise every day because when I exercise, I feel better. I was like, amen, sister. Right? Okay. Fructose makes things worse. It goes right to your liver where it starts manufacturing fat, which triggers more insulin resistance and causes chronically elevated blood insulin levels, driving your body to store everything you eat as dangerous belly fat. When your belly gets bigger than your butt, you're in trouble. It's called centripetal obesity. You also get fatty liver, which generates more inflammation. Chronic inflammation causes more weight gain and diabetes. Diabesity is what it's called. Anything that causes inflammation will worsen insulin resistance. Another problem with fructose is that it doesn't send information feedback to the brain, signaling that a load of calories just hit the body, nor does it reduce ghrelin, the appetite hormone that usually reduced when you eat real food. Now you can see just how easily 750 calories of soda can create biochemical chaos. In addition, the soda contains no fiber, vitamins, minerals, or phytonutrients to help you process the calories you are consuming. These are empty, quote, empty calories devoid of any nutritional value, but they are full of trouble. Your body doesn't register soda as food, so you eat more all day long. Plus, your taste buds get hijacked, so anything that is not super sweet doesn't taste very good to you. Think I'm exaggerating? Cut out all the sugar for a week, then have a cup of blueberries. Super sweet. Eat those same blueberries after binging on soda, and they will taste bland or boring. Now let's look at 750 calories of broccoli. As with the soda, these calories are made up of primarily, although not entirely, of carbohydrates. But let's just clarify just what that means, because the varying characteristics of carbs will factor significantly into the contrast I'm about to illustrate. Carbohydrates are plant-based compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They come in many varieties, but they are all technically sugar or starches, which converts sugar into the blood. Sugar in the blood. Convert to sugar in the blood. The important difference is in how they affect your blood sugar. High fiber, low sugar carbohydrates, such as broccoli, are slowly digested and don't lead to blood sugar or insulin spikes. While table sugar and bread are quickly digested carbs that spike your blood sugar, therein lies the difference. Slow carbs like broccoli heal rather than harm. Those 750 calories of broccoli is made up of 21 cups and contains 67 grams of fiber. The average American consumes 10 to 15 grams of fiber a day. Broccoli is 23% protein, 9% fat, and 68% carbohydrate, or 510 calories from carbs. The sugar, quote, in 21 cups of broccoli is equivalent of only 1.5 teaspoons. The rest of the carbohydrates are the low glycemic type found in all non-starchy vegetables, which are very slowly absorbed. So you can get 1.5 teaspoons of 750 calories of broccoli, or you can get 46. Isn't that what we read? 46 teaspoons of 750 calories of soda. 1.5 versus 46. Still, are the 750 calories in broccoli really the same as the 750 calories in soda? Kindergarten class response, no way. So why do we all think that it's true? And why has every major government and independent organization bought into this nonsense? Let's take a closer look at just how different these two sets of calories are. First, you wouldn't be able to eat 21 cups of broccoli because it wouldn't fit in your stomach. By assuming you could, what would happen? They contain so much fiber that a few of the calories would actually get absorbed. Those that did would get absorbed very slowly. There'd be no blood sugar or insulin spike, no fatty liver, no hormonal chaos. Your stomach would distend, which it doesn't with soda. Bloat from the carbonation doesn't count, sending signals to your brain that you were full. There would be no triggering of the addiction reward center in the brain. You also may get extra benefits that optimize metabolism, lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and boost detoxification. The phytonutrients in broccoli boost your liver's ability to detoxify environmental chemicals, and the flavonoid camphorol is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Broccoli also contains high levels of vitamin C and folate, which protects against cancer and heart disease. So we're running out of time, but that's just one area. I'm going to put a bookmark in here because we'll probably talk about. We're going to spend some time talking about some of this nutrition this week, but it's not the same. A calorie is not a calorie. It depends on how your body processes the calorie. And if you eat proper calories, your body processes them properly and moves you toward health. And if you eat the wrong calories, it moves you away from health. And so tomorrow, when you need to decide what you're going to have to drink, try water. Drink some tea, put some stevia in it if you need to for something sweet. Try some green tea. Do something like that changes. Get away from those soda. Get away from all that sugar that's involved in that, and just watch how your life gets better. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm glad to be back. We'll be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. You guys have a great night, and thanks for watching.